Hey everyone, Joe Waxman here. And in this video, I want to look at my solar return chart. It was my birthday yesterday, and my solar return was actually in the middle of the night last night. So I just want to go through that. We'll look at couple different things about how to read a solar return chart, and you can apply it to your own. All right, so let me share my screen, get right into it. I don't like wasting any time, as you can see. All right, so the first thing is you pull up your natal and then you pull up your solar return chart. I think you can do this in astro.com. But the really key thing here is looking up your yearly profection, because that goes along hand in hand with the solar return chart. It's a predictive technique, the profection, and I'll show you how you can calculate it in a minute. But if you have the software, you can look it up. I'm in a Libra Venus profection year, so 12th house, Libra Venus. So we look at for Venus. Venus is at 0 degrees Leo in the 9th quadrant, but 10th whole sign house, conjunct my natal Saturn, and conjunct Mars, solar return Mars, and my natal Mars. But just quickly, let's go over how to figure out your yearly profection. It goes year by year from your birthday to your birthday. Last year was an 11th house yearly profection. So this year is the 12th house yearly profection. But basically, when you're born, when you're 0 years old, because you don't start out as a 1-year-old, you start out 0 years old, and then after 1 year you become 1-year-old. As a 0-year-old, when you're born, you're in your 1st house profection year. Then as you're 1, you're in your 2nd. So you can just realize that each year you're moving 1 house in a yearly profection, and the lord of that house will be significant for each year, right? So Mars, for the 1st year, it's your ascendant and ascendant lord. 2nd year would be 2nd house and lord. So that would be Jupiter for me. 3rd house, 3rd lord, that would be Saturn, so forth, so on. So you can just realize that 12 is the 12th house. So 12, 24, 36, 48. Okay, I'm not 48. Wait a minute. 47. How does that work? 12, 24, 36, 47 should be. No, oh, okay, I'm confused, obviously. 12 is here because it's 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, 12, 24, 36, 48 would be 1st house. So 47 is 12th house. I'm 47. Sorry, it is early, and I'm just sometimes I'm stupid or just a little bit slow. Any case, that's how you do it. 12, 24, 36, 48. So let's say you turned 40. So 12, 24, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. It will be a 5th house year for your profection year, whatever is occupying your 5th house, 5th whole sign house. Let's say you're turning 61, right? 12, 24, 36, 48, 60, because multiples of 12, 61. 2nd house profection year. All right, any case, I'm in a 12th house, Venus ruled profection year. So this is the key significator of this year. You can look to both the natal placement of this as well as the yearly profection in your solar return chart. So in my natal chart, it's Venus is obviously in the 8th house with the sun combust, and that's water. These are both water houses, so that does signify a water quality. basically that would relate to my subconscious mind going into very deep things, which is why I like to, one of the reasons I like to go into astrology. Venus is our joys, right? It's our creativity. It's the things that we love. It's our sense of beauty and leisurely activities. And naturally, my mind just goes into deep things, and my creativity tends towards deep things, and my imagination. And so, but here we see that Venus is going into Leo, 0 degrees, Leo, which is a pretty potent number. But it's also conjunct my Saturn, and that's not bad for Saturn, because remember, Saturn is exalted in Libra. So Saturn benefits from Venus because Saturn's so old and cold and dry and hard, and and it's sort of like an old man and a young woman. The old man lightens up with the young woman. Venus is the young woman, obviously. The old man's like, laughing and giggling, and it brings out his softness, and it brings out his fairness. It brings out his humanity. He's much better judge and leader and authoritarian with Venus around, because he feels nourished and soft and youthful and joyful, right? So this old grumpy old man is lining up with Venus here. And at the same time, Venus actually benefits from Saturn, because Venus can be so indulgent and lazy and just like, excessive. Venus can really just be like, give me all the material things and let me eat and drink and bathe in, lush, plush, lazy comfort, and so it's actually not a bad combination. Leo's very creative too. It's bringing in the 12th house into Leo. Mars is here. Mars is my natal. So this is very comfortable. Mars conjunct my MC, because it's 2 degrees from my natal Mars. So it's natural for me to feel this way, right? With Mars is my ascendant lord. And it's in Leo. It's conjunct the MC. So it's like, me at the top, I try and play it cool, but this is really where my motivation is. My, Virgo moon wants to be like, don't boast, don't brag, don't, be humble. Virgo's not very egotistical, but Leo is, and Mars is. So it's like this conflict, a little bit of a conflict there. But Leo's very creative nonetheless, right? And especially bringing in the 12th house factors. 12th house is for the imagination, the subconscious. I have Pluto here, so Pluto is very powerful. It's making quite a strong aspect to transit Mars with the sextile. It's even better than my natal Mars, 1 degree sextile. So that's quite good for enhancing the creative aspects, because again, Leo is very creative in 12th house. Libra's not necessarily creative, but it can be. But 12th house is, right? So I think like bringing something to the public arena, because 9th, 10th house, especially, it's moving towards the MC, right? Same sign and close enough by degrees. That's really strongly influencing the MC. So public career, public image and career, creativity, right? Let's see what else. There's some very difficult aspects, challenging aspects. Pluto is exactly opposite. See this? 0, 0, 0, 0. And then natal Chiron plays into it with the square. So you got a very strong T square here, which is almost making a complete fixed grand cross at 0 degrees with my ascendant and south node and Uranus all in the 3 degree range. It's a little bit off, but it's still very close. So whether T square or a grand fixed square, that shows that this year is going to be a year to really work hard and push myself. And if I don't, life will push me, right? Whenever you have squares, lots of squares, T squares, cardinals, grand cross, you really do have to struggle a bit. And it's best to be conscious of it and take it upon yourself, so that it's not outsourced into life, who comes and makes you work hard against your will, because that just seems unfair when life is forcing you to do things. But if we own it, we take ownership over it, then it's much, much better, right? Saturn opposite Pluto is pretty challenging opposition, because they're such heavy hitters. Pluto and Saturn together makes very, very serious hard work, right? Pluto is in the third quadrant, but again, it's influencing this IC, so this the home, and Saturn naturally ruling this home area, the Aquarius. With the opposition, there's some bonification because Saturn, is the co-ruler of Aquarius, but definitely some issues around the home, around parents. My father did die recently, as you know, and this could indicate difficulties with my mother, who I do have to live with due to circumstances. I have to provide for her. And so that's a very hard situation, which you can see represented here. However, the Venus is going to lend itself to some sort of ease and joy and limited, but nonetheless very in line. It's very much in line with this, something, some creative abundance and joyful abundance. Venus and Leo is very creative, and so something, some softness, some luxury can come from there. Square to Chiron, the 7th. I mean, that's also related to this Jupiter conjunct North Node, which natally I have Jupiter conjunct South Node. And Jupiter conjunct the nodes definitely brings a certain amount of, well, it depends which. When I was younger, the South Node was active, so a lot of luxury, a lot of relationships, a lot of abundance, a lot of excessive Jupiterian, benefics in the 7th house, right? Due to relations, like lots and lots of, very abundant relationships, right? And North Node conjunct Jupiter should bring in some of that, and wealth, and also a focus on Taurian things, which are wealth and materialism, relationships themselves being in the 7th house, food, abundance. And that has been on my mind a lot with the South Node conjunct my ascendant. I'm much more focused on less on astrology these days, even though this is a video on astrology. I mean, the South Node shows a passivity. It's sort of like, it's not an obsessive quality. It's just like, yeah, I know this, but that's not really where I'm focused. The North Node in Jupiter makes me much more focused on developing my life and materialism and all that. So this year should be about creativity. Hopefully, some kind of relation. It could be there's many different kinds of relationships, obviously. But Jupiter and Taurus. So, and this is, for a lot of people, depends on the house where it is, but partnerships, relationships, and abundance, material abundance. And then we have Uranus and Mercury conjunct. And that's always a very, very interesting combination, because Uranus really electrifies the mind, creating a lot of brilliance. Uranus does not do so well in Taurus, except for the fact that it's really good for shaking things up, because Taurus is so stagnant and Uranus is so electric. So it's really going to shake things up. It is trine my natal moon, which is quite nice. Give me a lot of good ideas. And moon being exalted in Taurus, that's a pretty good combination here. Transit moon, solar return moon is in Capricorn, almost trine my natal moon, but still in the earth sign. And it's not great in Capricorn, but it is trine by a few degrees my natal Jupiter, and 1 degree the South Node. And because of its relationship, because of its exaltation in Taurus and its relationship with Jupiter, that's not bad also, because we have my natal moon connecting with Jupiter, and then solar return transit moon connecting with Jupiter. So, and Capricorn moon, even though it has a very hard time expressing itself, it's no dummy. And it's very good at all sorts of, very practical things, right? So in the third house, this would be good for intellectual pursuits, right, of any kind. Where it's not going to be good for is really developing my social skills, because Capricorn moons they're limited, they're inhibited. I mean, they could be social, of course, Capricorn moons, but their expression is always going to be very dry. So yeah. Any case. The Taurian factor is going to be good, again, good for creativity, right? Mercury, Uranus, Jupiter, North Node, and Taurus. Taurus has a lot to do with beauty, creativity, sensuality, materialism, but also great taste, sense of quality, right? So okay, what else? Saturn's basically conjunct, conjunct my fifth house cusp. So Saturn in Pisces, a little bit difficult, challenging relationship with in Pisces, and it's going to limit my fun, my creativity, my fifth house thing. It's going to make me work hard for any sense of joy. So wherever Saturn is, it's a pain in the butt, but I mean, it's always going to be somewhere, right? At least Venus is going to help lighten up this Saturn. Pluto, not so much, but it'll shake things up. Pluto, right? Saturn wants to keep the status quo, keep things in check, keep things, doesn't really want to change much. Pluto's going to change it. Venus is going to lighten it up. Saturn here is going to make joy difficult, but Pluto is still very Neptune is still very Pisces. Neptune in Pisces, ascendant in Pisces, still very creative. So I'm sensing a lot of creativity in this year, this solar return year, which is good because I do have some creative projects in mind. Ultimately, I am a creative type, although creativity mixed with intellectuality, right? It's a mixed bag. It's not pure creativity. I did go to art school, but Moon is on solar return descendant. So again, emphasizing some sort of relationship, right? My emotional needs will go towards relationship. My obsessive quality, North Node, Jupiter dealing with my belief system, my values, and my luck, my sort of great benefic is in this arena, the relationship and materialism, but also creativity, right? And so Pisces as well. So overall, a lot of creativity, I say this year, right? A lot of imagination, abundance, creativity, potential relationships, although relationships could be challenged, especially with this. Venus is semi-square the sun, so that's not a great position. It's conjunct Saturn and opposite Pluto, so it could be some challenging relationships. But definitely a great year for creativity and a quiet, 12th house years are often, they're not going to be very active out in the world. They're going to be much more like hidden and quiet and deep. But some public things could come out of it. So anyway, that's mainly how I would read a solar return chart. You look at the yearly profection. And sorry for the confusion in the beginning. It is early. Sometimes I make these videos pretty early. It's just 6:30. Haven't had my coffee yet. But yeah, this will be the first year. This will be the 12th year, 24th, 36, 48, 60. So multiples of 12 in the first house. Any case, check it out. It works. It's a great predictive technique to figure out how your year is going to be. And I always look at that. And then maybe soon we'll do secondary progressions, because That's also another good predictive technique that I use and is very accurate. But these are great. Last year it was my 11th house perfection year, and definitely there was working with groups, right? Then you look to the Lord, Mercury, 7th house, so that's very social, and there was a lot of social interactions, working within groups, working with friend groups. I was actually working with an old friend of mine for a while. I had different group networks, social things like that. And then this, because we look to the 8th house, so this should be a very deep. And then 12th and 8th house are also have a kinship, because water houses, so it's not bad, right? Malefic houses and malefic lords and malefic houses are said to bring good things, generally speaking. So this is very much relating to astrology and deep thinking and penetrating insight. But here it's very creative. So anyway, that's pretty much it. All right, guys. I hope you found this useful, or hit the like button. And I still do readings, so you can book a reading with me. And leave a comment down below if you have anything to say. All right. That's pretty much it for now. All right, thanks, bye.